As I mentioned earlier in the show, the brand new docu-series, True North, airing on the Red Bull media platform, NFB, TSN, follows the story of AAU prep high school basketball and the booming scene here in Toronto. But the young man who's in charge of choosing to do this story, Ryan Sadu, you grew up in the greater Vancouver metropolitan. What do you guys call where you're from? Vancouver.
I grew up in Vancouver, yeah.
Okay, so question is, what was the impact on because in your documentary, you talk about the impact of the Toronto Raptors, David Stoudemire, on the scene in Toronto. But for a guy like you who decides to make a film about basketball in Canada, what was the impact that the Grizzlies had on you and your childhood?
Well, it was even before the Grizzlies, just my family, my dad, and having immigrant roots and coming to, being born in Canada's first generation, there just wasn't a built-in history of hockey and skiing. So my dad really gravitated towards the Showtime Lakers. That was his thing.
That's right? So weird. My dad's favorite team is the Showtime Lakers.
So I grew up on like Sean Rooks and Eddie Jones and Eldon Campbell, and then Kobe came along.
That's not Showtime.
But I know. But in my era, I'm not. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the roots of it. So. When the Grizzlies came, as someone who loved basketball and identified with basketball and didn't really identify with kind of hockey and in the snow sports, it was like, okay, it's here now. It's other people around me could be into it, and that was really special having a team there and getting to see, Shaq and Kobe and Grant Hill and all these guys come through. So I think that did a lot, just for me to be like, yeah, this is not niche anymore. It's getting a little bigger. Yeah,
it's definitely gotten a lot bigger across the country. I remember when I was a kid, well, not when I was a kid, but pre-adolescent, you could gamble pro line on basketball. But of course, when the Toronto Raptors came to Toronto, they cut that out. Well, a recent landmark decision in the United States has allowed for sports gambling to return to the NBA. Are we pro this idea? Is this a bad idea? JD, I'll start with you. You seem like a gambler.
Hey,
you live on the edge.
I'm all for it, man. I mean, it's my money. Let me do what I want with it, man.
But does it not impact the game also?
Well, I guess the fear is that, point shaving and things of that nature.
It's been a problem in basketball historically.
Yeah, they say with referees and stuff like that. I remember.
Tim Donahue.
Yeah, I remember there's the issue with him. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think people should have the freedom to bet on. They're doing it underground anyways, so why not just make it transparent?
Agree, disagree, Dan Glavin?
I got to agree. I mean, it's happening anyway. There's no stopping if, this doesn't increase the chances of point shaving. If there's going to be illegal activities like that, it's already happening. So to have a law in place that stops people, that makes it illegal, I don't know what the penalties are, but I don't think anybody should have to serve any sort of sentence or fine because they're gambling. I do agree it should be legal.
All right, well, I mean, there's no debate here. It seems like we're all pro gambling in sports. Shouts out to Mark Cuban, who recently tweeted, hey, you guys just made my franchise value double with that one decision. I got to get in on this NBA thing for real. But the other angle, of course, last night, 7 o'clock, NBA draft lottery, the last time that a team would have 25% chance of winning the #1 pick. Here's how it all shook out. The Phoenix Suns walk away with the #1 overall pick. Sacramento 2, Atlanta 3. Ryan, who should be the #1 overall pick when Phoenix picks on the board? July 21st.
That's
Or June 21st. June 21st.
The kicker.
Here comes the kicker.
Here comes the kicker. All the Serbian, Yugoslavian connections here, where Phoenix's new head coach, who is Serbian, however, coached the Slovenian national team where Luka Doncic plays, whose dad is from Serbia. Is there a connection there? Is that connection, familiarity, knowing what he can do on the court enough to pass on
DeAndre Ayton,
who I would take #1, but those kind of family ties?
Well, I mean, there's also family ties with the #2 team, Sacramento, Vlade Divac, a close friend of his dad who's Serbian. JD, who you got going #1?
Ayton. I think if you're Phoenix and you're in this position right now, Booker is...
You got a guard.
Yeah, Booker's on the edge, where he's like, listen, we got to start winning. You got a good 2 or whatever in Jackson, small forward in him. You got to go for Ayton.
Dan?
I'm sticking with Bagley, who I've had. I've had him all year as the #1.
I like him, man. I like him.
It's the pedigree coming out of Duke right now. They're ready-made for the NBA. Look at Tatum this year. I think he's just a bit safer bet, and I didn't like what I saw from Arizona in the NCAA tournament, and that kind of scared me a little bit off of Ayton.
All this talk of gambling and nobody wanted to take a flyer on Trae Young.
You're crazy.
You all disappointed.
You're crazy.
I'm number one.
All right, ESPN and Netflix have announced a 10-part docu-series on Michael Jordan featuring 500 hours of unseen footage. What? Hangouts!